At a critical moment on a date with my girlfriend, I found a note inside her. It was a data storage receipt from a cyber cafe. The person who stored it was her cousin. I looked at my girlfriend. She had a look of pure innocence, as if she knew nothing at all. Chapter 1. What is this? I mumbled to myself. Victoria was facing away from me, lying on the bed. Hurry up and come here. Don't look at that, it's so embarrassing. I was sure I hadn't seen it wrong. It was a barcode, but the light was too dim, and the switch was near Victoria. I suddenly raised my voice. Quick, turn on the light, don't move. What is this thing? Victoria jumped, startled, and reached for the switch. Sincere, don't scare me, what is it? She didn't even finish her sentence before the light flooded the room. She buried her head in the pillow, her voice trembling on the verge of tears. Whatever it is, please just hurry. I feel so uncomfortable. It looks like a slip of paper or something. I'm taking it out now. Don't move. God only knew how close I was to a complete breakdown. My mind felt like an elephant had just stormed into it, rampaging wildly and leaving me dizzy. I couldn't worry about that now. I carefully retrieved the object from behind Victoria. It was wrapped in a thin layer of plastic. Yeah, it's a slip of paper. I let out a long breath and gave her a light pat on the backside, signaling for her to turn over. Was that thing inside me just now? I looked at Victoria and nodded. The light was too bright. She grabbed the corner of the nearby duvet to cover herself. Then our eyes simultaneously fell on the slip of paper. I didn't hesitate. I tore open the plastic with my bare hands. It was a receipt. At the top, Green Bay Cyber Café, Data Storage Receipt Depositor, Jenna Hayes, hold until before November 10, 2023. Seeing the receipt, Victoria's expression turned to one of shock. Jenna? I didn't know the person on the receipt. Who's Jenna? My cousin. Why would she stuff this receipt into my... Victoria trailed off, freezing as if trying to recall something. As for me, my mind was a complete blank. Did you see her this afternoon? No, we don't see each other that often. She just got back together with her ex-boyfriend recently. The last time I saw her was probably at the beginning of the month, Victoria continued. I came straight here to find you after work. I'll call her and ask what's going on. She started fumbling for her phone. I glanced at my watch. It was already past 1 in the morning. I reached out and stopped her. Forget it. It's so late. We can ask tomorrow. I studied the storage receipt in my hand, muttering to myself, the real question is, what's stored on here? Victoria looked utterly innocent and even a little agitated. Who cares what's on it? I have to call her and get a straight answer. I knew she was on the verge of a meltdown. I pulled her into my arms, comforting her. It's okay, babe. I'm here. Have you forgotten what I do? We'll figure this out together. Even though it was just a light touch, Victoria's warm, soft body melted into my embrace. But at that moment, I had no desire to feel the heat of her body or the smoothness of her skin. The questions in my mind were bubbling up like foam, one after another. I couldn't enjoy the present until I solved them. Finally, unable to bear the voice in my head any longer, I pushed Victoria away gently and said, let's go. To this cyber cafe. We're almost at the deadline anyway. I glanced at my watch. November 9th, 2023, 1:20 a.m. Go now? Right now. Let's go have a look. All right. Victoria seemed reluctant, but I couldn't be bothered with that. I had a feeling this note was meant for me. That's right. Any mystery, no matter how dangerous the answer, excites me. I work as an independent developer. I like hitting up nightclubs and bars at night. Compared to fixing bugs, I much prefer solving real-world problems. I'm a huge fan of detective stories and even have a column dedicated to unsolved mysteries. It doesn't have many followers, but I still tirelessly share my insights on cold cases. I met Victoria at a bar 6 months ago. Another girl had brought her out. I was captivated the moment I saw her. Luckily for me, after we connected on a messaging app, she took the initiative and started pursuing me. What man can say no to a beautiful woman? After we made it official, we would often joke that it was love at first sight. Our life together was like any other couple's. We'd work during the day and go on dates at night. Victoria is a stunningly beautiful woman, perfect features, snow-white skin, and long, straight legs. She has little dating experience, having only been in one relationship before me. According to her, it was because she was so beautiful that few men dared to approach her. She lives a very disciplined life. A good girl who lives at home with her parents. As for me, because of my work, I have a lot of electronic equipment, so I rent my own place. She usually stays over once or twice a week. Chapter 2. After getting dressed, we set out. It was the middle of the night, so there were very few pedestrians or cars on the road. We hopped on my motorcycle and quickly arrived at the Green Bay Cyber Café. It was already November, and the temperature outside was freezing, but inside the café, it was a different world. It seems there are plenty of night owls in this day and age. I walked straight to the front desk and handed over the storage receipt. The guy at the counter was a lanky kid in his 20s. He took my receipt, did a quick search on his computer, and then scribbled something on a piece of paper and handed it to me. Here, written on the paper, was an account and a password. I rented a computer, and we sat down. Victoria sat next to me, holding her helmet, looking a bit distracted. When she noticed me looking at her, she asked, "What do you think is in there?" Our eyes met. I observed her carefully. Her eyes were guileless, showing no signs of hiding anything. I really didn't want to think the worst. Whatever it is, it must be something important. With that, I looked down at the screen, unable to say another word. My fingers, however, tapped restlessly on the desk. After the computer booted up, there was an app on the desktop called Café Storage. I clicked it, entered the account and password from the paper, and was taken to a cloud drive interface. Victoria and I stared at the screen, unblinking. Every click felt like a skipped heartbeat. The drive loaded quickly. There was only one folder, named Angel Reformation Project. I clicked on it. Inside, aside from a text file named readma.txt, were all encrypted video files with garbled names. I opened the only unencrypted file, the text file. bug.tslkdjkjmnvi kjdfksdfaz cethip.org. There were only 2 lines in the file. I recognized it immediately. The bottom line was a dark web email address. The top one, maybe an ID? As I was thinking, Victoria seemed to remember something. Rummaging through her bag, she said, "It's him." I could see the shock on her face. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. In the picture was a graceful girl with long, gentle hair holding onto someone's arm. The man's face wasn't in the shot. The background looked like a bar, and on the wall behind them hung a Spanish flag. The man was using his other hand to lift his t-shirt, as if showing off a trophy. Written on it in a stylized font was Bug T. That's her boyfriend. Victoria pointed at the photo, her voice rising uncontrollably. This guy is Jenna's boyfriend. The situation was starting to seem more logical, but in reality, it was becoming even more bizarre. It made sense for Jenna's data to contain her boyfriend's name, but for that storage receipt to end up inside my girlfriend's body. "Have you ever met this guy?" I asked. "No. My cousin said he's a social engineering hacker and can't show his face easily." "What does your cousin do?" "She's a product manager, I think. Something like that. She works at an internet company." I thought for a moment, then said, "Forget it. Let's copy this stuff and take it back. I'll try to decrypt these videos over the next couple of days." Although I hadn't been with Victoria for long, I had never once suspected her of anything. Maybe it was intuition, and that included this time. But a competent social engineering hacker could assume any identity. Getting close to anyone would be child's play for him. I didn't know what was in those videos. I just hoped the answer wasn't what I was thinking. After copying the data from the cafe, Victoria and I returned to my apartment. So many incredible things had happened, and the late night trip had left us exhausted. It was past 3 in the morning when we finally lay down in bed. She had work the next day and fell asleep almost instantly. November 10th, 2023, the next time I was fully awake, it was 10 a.m. I'd forgotten to close the curtains last night, and the glaring sunlight was shining right on my face. I opened my eyes and checked my phone. Victoria had sent several messages. My cousin's not answering her phone. I asked my aunt, and she said Jenna hasn't been home for a week. "Have you watched those videos yet? Do you think that man might have hurt her? Call me when you get up." I had just woken up, and the events of last night were still swirling in my mind. After reading the messages, I put down my phone, closed my eyes, and tried to clear my head. But I couldn't. I picked up my phone and called Victoria. "Hello?" As soon as the call connected, Victoria rushed to speak. "You're up. Listen, should we call the police? My cousin is missing. Chapter 3. Hearing the panic in her voice, I had to calm her down first. "Don't panic. Let me figure out what's on these videos first, and then we'll decide." "Well, hurry up, I'm freaking out. How did I get dragged into this?" "You keep trying to contact your cousin. Leave this side of things to me." I hung up the phone. "Although I didn't know this, Jenna, When I saw her photo last night, I had a strange feeling. I was sure I had seen her somewhere before. Also, these videos had to be related to me. It was obvious someone had done this intentionally. The thought made it impossible for me to sit still. I climbed out of bed and plugged the USB drive into my computer. To be safe from any viruses, I opened a virtual machine, imported all the files, and prepared the decryption software to start cracking them. After some analysis, I found that all the files were encrypted using the SHA-256 algorithm. I was crestfallen. In the face of this level of encryption, traditional cracking methods were completely useless, even with the high-spec workstation I had at home. Trying to brute force these files was a pipe dream. It would probably take a military-grade supercomputer or a quantum computer. I cursed my own incompetence. Without a key, these files were impossible to open. A key was like a password for encrypted files. Input it, and you could view them directly. Suddenly, I remembered what Victoria had said yesterday. I quickly opened the readme.txt file. Looking at the bug.tid and the dark web email address, I understood. I opened another virtual machine and connected to the dark web using the Tor network. Here, everyone is anonymous. The regular internet is no longer a lawless place, but here, it's still the Wild West. On the dark web, whoever has the best skills is king. I used a special browser to compose an email to the address, attaching one of the encrypted videos. Subject: please decrypt this file. Soon after sending the email, I received an automated reply from the recipient's mail system. Please pay 1.5 C-coins. C-coin is a cryptocurrency, completely anonymous. This meant if I got scammed, there would be no way to get my money back. 1.5 C-coins was equivalent to about 350. For decrypting an SHA-256 file, the price was very reasonable. Following the instructions in the email, I quickly transferred the 1.5 C-coins. Now, all I could do was wait. At dusk that day, a man in a black jacket sat at a bar. Another man approached and skillfully took the seat next to him. Big X, do we really have to take him out? The man in the black jacket picked up his glass, answering without looking up. He crossed the line. It can't be helped. He brought this on himself. He drained the glass and continued. The plan has already begun. I've already delivered the package in a way he couldn't refuse. After he finished speaking, the other man vanished, and behind him, on the wall, was that same Spanish flag. I woke up in a daze. The sky was completely dark. I pushed myself up from the bed, my head a bit fuzzy. I checked the time, 10:30 p.m. My phone was ringing incessantly. Victoria's picture was on the screen. I answered. Hello, Victoria said quickly. Don't tell me you're still sleeping. What's the status on that stuff? I'm coming to see you the day after tomorrow, her words reminded me. I quickly replied. The videos I'll tell you once I figure it out. Wait for my message. I hung up, opened my computer, and checked my email. An unread message was sitting in my inbox. My hands trembled as I opened it. It was a blank email, but it had a video attached. The file was named thecorrectiondevice.mp4. I downloaded the video and double-clicked to open it. I swear, it was the most depraved thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I doubt anything will ever top it. Chapter 4. On the screen, a young woman appeared, wearing only a white cotton top. She was blindfolded and seated in a specially designed chair. Her hands were fastened to the armrests in front of her, and straps bound her thighs to the seat. Her calves could swing freely, and she was barefoot. Looking closer, I could see her neck was fixed to the back of the chair, forcing her to sit up straight. Connected to the neck restraint was a lever handle. The video was silent. After 2 minutes, a man wearing a mask entered the frame. He stood behind the chair and began to turn the lever. After just a few turns, the woman on the screen began to struggle. Even without sound, a sense of desperate suffocation radiated from the screen, making me sick to my stomach. Before the man had even completed 2 full rotations, the woman had lost control of her bladder. A pale yellow liquid streamed down from the seat onto her thighs, her calves, her feet, and the floor. Her legs began to kick wildly. Just as the woman was about to give up the struggle, the man stopped turning the lever. He walked around to the front and checked her vital signs. Then, he removed her blindfold. It's Jenna. The name escaped my lips involuntarily. The woman in the video wasn't dead. She was desperately begging the man to let her go. He ignored her pleas and calmly turned off the camera. I slammed the video shut, filled with terror and rage. It took a full 5 minutes for me to collect myself. In those 5 minutes, 1,000 questions raced through my mind. I didn't know how to tell Victoria about this. I didn't know what I could do, what I should do. I didn't know if Jenna was dead or alive. The chime of a new message on my phone snapped me back to reality. It was Victoria. I answered the call. "Have you seen the video?" I thought it over, then replied, "Not yet. The encryption is tricky. Give me a few more days." We exchanged a few pleasantries before I hung up. When I opened the video again, I focused my attention on the surroundings. The background was a warehouse, but the camera angle never moved, so the video offered limited information. Then it hit me. Bug.T had already seen this footage. He was Jenna's boyfriend. For him to send it to me so calmly, he must know something. I opened the photo Victoria had sent me yesterday and stared at it for a while. I sent a message to Victoria. "That photo of your cousin you showed me yesterday, do you know where it was taken?" 3 minutes later she replied, "I think it's a place called Blue Night." She used to go there a lot. Blue Night had to be a key piece of the puzzle. It was 11:30 p.m. on November 10th. I decided to go to Blue Night to investigate. Maybe I could find some clues about Jenna or Bug.T. I got dressed, found the bar called Blue Night on my phone's map, and followed the navigation. I was there in no time. Blue Night was a small European-style bar with ornate architecture and a distinctive treehouse-shaped entrance. I walked into the main room. The place was bustling with people, and someone was performing on stage. I glanced toward the stage, and a piece of equipment in the corner immediately made my hair stand on end. I grabbed a waiter and shouted over the music, "Hey, what is that?" The waiter looked in the direction I was pointing and replied, "That's a prop from a James Bond movie. It's just a model." I immediately pulled out my phone and looked at a screenshot from the video. I was sure I wasn't mistaken. That was the same torture device from the video, a Spanish garrote. This kind of thing wasn't common in our country. The killer must have been here. Chapter 5. But if the killer had been here and he was also targeting me, showing up so openly could be dangerous. I put on a mask and went to the bar. The owner, who was standing behind the counter, saw me and gestured as if to ask what I wanted. I scanned the room. No one suspicious seemed to be around. I took off my mask and was about to speak to the bartender, but he seemed to already know something. He immediately bent down to grab something from under the counter. He slid an envelope into my hand, and at the same time, another server placed a shot of brandy on the bar. I opened the envelope. Inside was a small card. It read, "Nice to meet you. My name is Xavier. I'm glad you found this place. Let's get straight to the point. I'm the one who left the note. I know you're angry, but I can't tell you more right now. Trust me, you couldn't handle it yet. You still need Bug.T, only he can decrypt those videos. I've left you a gift, a video. I've written the file path on the back of this card. Time is short. If you want to save Jenna, do as I say. I didn't have time to be angry. Who was this Xavier guy? How did he get that note inside Victoria? And he had managed to hack my computer without a trace. What the hell had I gotten myself into? I raced back home, opened my computer, and followed the instructions on the back of the card. I found the video easily. It was a video Jenna had recorded herself. "Ethan, I've thought about this for a long time, and I still can't accept it. I can't believe you're really with my cousin. I saw you two going to— Well, never mind. You always told me you were busy at night. I guess I was just being naive. But I've come to terms with it now. Let's break up. Goodbye." Because it was shot on a phone, the bottom right corner clearly displayed the date, October 5th, 2023. The video was only a minute long, but the sheer volume of information left my mind a blank slate. I had never imagined that, in the end, I was the clown all along. Victoria was messing around with that guy, Ethan. No wonder the photo she showed me was cropped. She was probably afraid I'd see what Buck looked like. And on the other side, Xavier had, without my knowledge, secretly slipped that note inside her. What's more, this Xavier must be connected to Jenna's kidnapping. The reason was obvious. Only Buck had the keys to those videos. The first step to solving any of this was to find Victoria. Though rage was making me irrational, I needed to stay calm. A life was at stake. Whatever Victoria had done, Jenna was still in danger. That was the priority. I still needed that asshole Buck. Only he could unlock the videos. I opened the Tor browser and sent him the remaining videos, paying the agreed-upon amount in C coins. While waiting for a reply, I debated 1,000 times whether to call Victoria. But what would I even yell at her? That she was a cheating hussy? That kind of anger would only show my own powerlessness. Yes, I had been cheated on. I was just too blind to see it. I was a joke. I felt waves of nausea in my stomach. A voice in my head told me I needed to go back to Blue Night. Just then, a message from Victoria popped up. Sincere, you asshole, is Jenna Hayes with you? In my state of fury, this message just left me confused. What kind of a double act were these two sisters pulling? I called her. She rejected it several times, making it feel like I was the one who had cheated. Finally, she answered. The line was silent on her end, but I could hear sobbing. Sincere, why did you lie to me? Chapter 6. The moment I heard her voice, curiosity overcame my anger. I asked calmly, what did you mean by that message? I saw the photo, your bug. Haven't you had enough of your games? You're the one who planted that note, weren't you? I was silent for a good 10 seconds, not because I was thinking, but because my CPU had just overheated. None of this made any sense. What are you talking about? What photo? I needed answers, and Victoria was the key. I needed her right now. So I continued. I saw a really bizarre video today, too. I think both of us are being used. Come over tomorrow evening, bring that photo you mentioned, and I'll show you a video. Also, your cousin Jenna has been kidnapped. Whatever you do, don't call the police. Come over tomorrow, and we'll find the answers together. After calming Victoria down, I realized it was almost dawn. So much had happened in the last 2 days. I finally fell into a deep, heavy sleep. I woke up the next day and looked out the window. The sky was already getting dark. I'd slept for an entire day. I checked the time, 6:37 p.m. Victoria should be arriving soon. Sure enough, just as I finished tidying myself up, there was a knock at the door. I opened it, and Victoria stormed in and sat on the sofa. Before I could say a word, she pulled her phone out of her bag, opened a photo, and shoved it in my face. Explain this, I took the phone. It was a photo of Jenna with another person, taken at what looked like a company dinner. Everyone else at the table was in business attire. The two of them had their arms around each other, looking very much like a couple. As for the man next to her, although it was only his profile, there was no mistaking it. It was me. I examined every detail of the photo. I asked, where did you get this? With my cousin missing, I went to her place yesterday and borrowed her tablet, hoping to find some clues. I found this photo on it. As she spoke, Victoria started to cry. Too many strange things had happened recently. I turned and went to my room to get something. Wait here, I want to show you a video. I brought out my tablet and played the 1-minute clip for Victoria. After she watched Jenna's breakup video, she said, what is she talking about? I don't even know him. I took the tablet back. Right. There's also a video of your cousin being kidnapped. You shouldn't watch it, but I think she's still alive. What is going on? Victoria's anger from when she first walked in had now turned to confusion. We're being targeted. My computer was hacked. These people came prepared. Seeing Victoria's helpless expression, I explained further. You watch videos, right? You know about AI face swapping? I know what that is. I pointed to her phone screen. Victoria looked down and studied the photo again. Using AI to swap faces in a video is easy to spot, but for a photo? It's so common, you'd never be able to tell. I took Victoria's hand and continued, stay home and be safe for now. This situation is too dangerous. You just need to trust me. These people are after me. It started with that note. I don't want you to be in danger. This was a lot for anyone to handle, but now that we were in this deep, the only way out was forward. I didn't ask Victoria to stay the night. For her own safety, I sent her home, because I needed to investigate that bar, Blue Night, one more time. I returned to the Blue Night bar. It was just a little past 9, so it wasn't crowded. The house singer was still on stage, singing a slow ballad. I took a seat at the bar. The owner saw me but didn't ask anything. After a couple of minutes, he pushed a glass of whiskey in front of me and went back to wiping down the counter. It was just like last time. I didn't say a word. Last time he had proactively given me the card, this time a glass of whiskey. After a moment of internal struggle, my intense curiosity won out. I decided to drink the whiskey in front of me. It was a strong spirit. As soon as it went down, the intense alcohol rushed straight to my brain, followed by a wave of dizziness. At the same time, a man sat down in the seat to my left. Chapter 7. When I turned to look, he was looking right at me. He extended a hand very politely for a handshake. Hello, my name is Xavier. At the same time, he turned to the bartender and gave a nod. Thank you. The bartender nodded back with a smile. Who are you? Xavier. The man in front of me picked up my glass and downed it in one gulp. The dim bar light swept across his face, and I instinctively stumbled backward. Why did this man look exactly like me? Who the hell are you? Maybe it was the alcohol. I could no longer stay calm or clear-headed. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I am you. The man took a step forward, letting me get an even clearer look at my own face. Just then, he suddenly pulled a dagger from his pocket and plunged it deep into my left chest. I instinctively tried to block it, but it was too late. Only the wooden hilt of the dagger remained outside my chest. The entire blade was embedded in my heart. I didn't have time to feel the pain. I clutched my chest. Is this where it ends for me? 5 seconds, 10, 30, a minute, 2 minutes. Time ticked by as I lay slumped over the bar. 5 minutes passed. I was still conscious. The hilt of the dagger was still there. I reached for the wound. The blood had already clotted. It was only then that I realized I had felt no pain at all. I lifted my head. It was a hallucination. The bartender was wiping the counter. You were only out for 5 minutes. The last guy was on the floor for almost 20. The man next to me looked at me. Can we talk now? I sat up straight. The whiskey glass in front of me had been refilled. What is going on? How should I put this? Let's start with that note. He continued. Did you two have a few drinks before you went home that night? That's right. I was the one who took her clothes off. I was the one who put the note there. I tried my best to recall the events of that day. My memory only began from the moment I found the note. I couldn't remember anything from before that, no matter how hard I tried. Like you, I am one of the personalities in this body. Why would you do that? 1, I wanted you to take this seriously. 2, I thought it would be interesting. He let out a cold laugh. Even though we looked identical, our auras were completely different. Just then, I remembered the most important thing.
Jenna, what was that video about?
The man clapped me on the shoulder. What do you do for a living? Where does your income come from? I'm a programmer. What programs have you developed? The question stumped me. I searched my mind. I seemed to know I was a developer, but I had absolutely no idea what I had actually developed. He asked again, what do you do during the day? Once again, the question brought me to a halt. I had almost no memory of my daytime activities. All my memories seemed to be of the nightlife. He began to explain everything from the beginning. Just as you might have guessed, I have dissociative identity disorder. My name is Sincere Clark, Ethan Thorne, or Bug. T is another one of my personalities, the one who functions during the day. Ethan and Jenna worked at the same cybersecurity firm. They were a couple during the day. After dark, Ethan would disappear, and Sincere would emerge. As for Xavier, he was the only one who could communicate with the other personalities and share memories. The rest of us were isolated from each other, unable to share memories. Then what happened with Jenna? That was because of Julian. He crossed the line. What do you mean? He only appears when you're under extreme emotional distress. But he interfered with Ethan's life. He continued. He wanted to take over Ethan's life for himself. So what should I do? Kill him. Chapter 8. Kill one of my own personalities? I shot back. Why don't you do it yourself? Because I can't manifest stably. Only you and Bug.T can consistently occupy this body. I was right. That photo Victoria brought was of me. There was no AI face swapping. It was just the daytime me. The daytime me is Ethan Thorne Persona B. The nighttime me is Sincere Clark Persona A. Everything had been fine. Ethan and Jenna were a daytime couple. But when Sincere met Victoria and they started dating, that balance was shattered. Jenna saw Sincere with Victoria at night and mistakenly thought it was Ethan. So, she broke up with him. From Ethan's perspective, he was completely innocent. Under the intense emotional strain, Julian Persona C split off and emerged. Julian took revenge by torturing Jenna, but Xavier Persona D discovered it. He had crossed the line. This was not within his designated role as a personality. So Xavier decided to eliminate Persona C. But because the Xavier personality couldn't reliably take control of the body, he needed my help, Sincere's help, as well as Ethan Thorne's. Once I understood everything, I looked down at the dagger hilt still sticking out of my chest and asked, how do you kill another personality? A vote. Xavier explained, we can make a personality disappear through a vote. I can act as the medium since I have access to all of your memories. What do you need me to do? I can't contact the daytime Buck to go back and send him an email telling him everything. With that, Xavier vanished. The effects of the alcohol wore off, and when I looked at my chest, the dagger hilt was gone. I went home and opened my email. I saw the decrypted video sent over by Buck through the lens. Even though the person was wearing a mask, I could tell for certain. The abuser was me. I decided I had to save Jenna first before thinking about eliminating any personalities. Since we shared a body, I got an air tag and placed it in the trunk of my motorcycle. I also turned on the location history tracking. That way I could find the warehouse's location. Finally, I summoned the courage to dial 911. 911, what's your emergency? I want to report a kidnapping. The operator on the other end replied, Sir, please be clear. Did you witness a kidnapping? I'm the one who kidnapped someone. I live at XXXX Street, number XX. I hung up. Within minutes, 2 police cars were at my door. I told them everything. With the help of the tracker and undercover officers, they found the warehouse where Jenna was being held. The very next day, the judge ruled that I had schizophrenia and needed to undergo psychological treatment before sentencing. That's why I'm sitting here today. Under the spotlight, we voted one by one. Although we couldn't see each other, we all cast our vote for the personality we wanted gone. In the end, only one personality remained. Right now, I'm sitting in front of several forensic doctors appointed by the court. They're here to evaluate my condition. I said, that's the whole story. I've told you everything. One of them asked, so who are you now? Sincere Clark. And the others? They were all eliminated in a vote organized by Xavier. Including Julian? Yes. After a series of discussions, my 2 years of mandatory psychological treatment will be coming to an end. For the kidnapping and intentional injury charges, I will serve another year in prison. With the help of my psychiatrist, I now have a single unified personality, Sincere Clark. A couple of prison guards patted my shoulder, telling me to head back to my cell. I could barely contain the joy welling up inside me. Xavier, trying to get rid of me?